Hello, it's December 10th, 2024. My name is Joe Weston, and we're here once again for our monthly global heart gathering. And as always, it's great to have you all show up, new faces, old faces. I don't mean old like age-wise, but old in terms of hanging out with us here. And I just want to clarify, it's almost 7 years now that we've been doing this. 7? Yeah, it'll be 7 in the spring. And it's been quite a journey. And building relationship, building heart connection with people. And that's fascinating from our time. And I think that's fascinating. That's part of a little bit of what I want to talk about today. The uniqueness of our time is that we can build relationship and community over 7 years with people that we've never actually met in the flesh, and that's possible. And then why that may sound strange, and it actually is not how the human body is built in terms of what's needed in human development and the nervous system, and in terms of how we bond and how we create relationships and community. Who knows? It maybe the human body is adjusting, but it's the new way. And then and to see the benefits of that, that it is possible to do what we've been saying is that there are so many people on this planet who are and organizations that are doing such beautiful work for global peace and for harmony and for the benefit of all beings on this planet and the planet itself. And let's use this medium of the World Wide Web to actually connect. And as we create stronger bonds with each other, we just naturally get stronger. That our single contribution can only go so far, and it is in the process of connecting that we realize that we get to experience what, or we get to realize in our limited consciousness what already exists, which is that we are fully interdependent and interconnected. There hasn't been a moment when we haven't been. And we can see that you want to investigate that, just look at everything, all in nature and natural phenomenon. There's always an influence of some kind. There's always a way that a weather system here is influencing something kilometers, thousands of kilometers away or thousands of miles away. And we're in that moment. And I think and I just want to bring up this time that this is what this time is really helping us to see. For on some level, that's the beauty of practice, right? I've been doing practice for decades, and it's still a struggle. Like, I do my commitments, and that there are other practices I can do, but it's like, oh, should I do them or should I not do them? And because there is that kind of luxury and ease, often, I don't have the urgency to choose to do it. And I don't think I'm the only one. I don't think I'm the only one in that. And what's interesting is that with this, the message of this global heart gathering is this idea that I've been saying for decades, and I'm not the only one who's been saying this. People have been saying this literally for decades, that we're going to move into an era where we're really going to be confronted with old systems that are no longer serving us as a new evolution of who we are is emerging. That I'm not the only one who has said that. There are many people who have said that, and we're seeing that play out. We're in the middle of it, so we may not be able to see it as objectively as we'd like, but that is playing out. We've been seeing in the last 20 years systems that are just dying away, that are no longer serving us or that are causing us harm, or systems that should be dying away that's really holding on for dear life, causing a lot of strife. And in that, if you can look, you can see the emergence. It's like is a glass half empty or half full? And I think right now we're in a time, because of the media that loves to profit off of conflict and pain, we tend to see the destruction and the breakdown more than we're seeing the emergence and the unity and what is developing. Uh, so having said that the bad news is that systems as we know them are crumbling. The good news is that systems as we know them are crumbling, and that we are holding a space to be of service in this time for that dysregulation, that panic, the trauma that comes with that. Like when you, I'm not really that good at gardening, but if you transplant a plant from one pot to another, you're putting it through a trauma state. And you want to make sure that when you replant it and you make sure it's rooted and you give it extra care to go through that process, usually what you're doing, from what I understand, is you're helping that plant to grow and thrive by taking it out of a small plant and then bringing it into a larger plant. So you're creating the benefits for this plant to thrive. But in that moment, all it's thinking of is like, what are you doing to me? What are you putting me through? Why are you putting me through this? And on some level, it feels like that's what we're in right now, very strongly. And I don't think it sounds like false optimism or hope. It's just a matter of how we're looking at it. And I want to read a quote that I just recently came across. I saw it years ago, and it just came back to me. That's really been resonating with me, and it's part of what I want to talk about today, of how to approach what we're currently in, to see how we're cultivating fierce compassion and resilience, and to see how we can be of service um, as midwives or doulas in this process of a system that's dying away and a system that's being born. How do we hold space for that? And I'll read the quote, by Winston Churchill, that he said sometime in the 1930s. I'm not sure. So if you place that the 1930s, that was 5 to 10 years before the beginning of World War II officially, but already Europe was kind of in a state of old systems breaking down, new systems emerging, a lot of volatility and uncertainty. And the quote is, "Hear this, young men and women everywhere, and proclaim it far and wide. The earth is yours and the fullness thereof. Be kind, but be fierce. You are needed now more than ever before. Take up the mantle of change, for this is your time." I'll read it again a little more quickly. "Hear this, young men and women everywhere, and proclaim it far and wide. The earth is yours and the fullness thereof. Be kind, but be fierce. You are needed now more than ever before. Take up the mantle of change, for this is your time." Now just take a breath and let that resonate. And that really resonates for this time, as what if that's what these times have been made for? To pull us out of a certain level of luxury, complacency, um, numbness, maybe even cynicism, or apathy, or just a very convenient, sense of, I'll get there sometime. I'll do that practice next week. Or all of these things that we're talking about stepping up and being compassion in action, which is what we've been doing with this practice. How do we become compassion instead of actually doing compassionate things? How do we engage with loved ones, strangers, and adversaries in every moment in alignment with that our words, our thoughts, and our actions are in total alignment with our highest values? How do we do that? Or what we are doing that, we're cultivating that we choose to be global citizens where we are devoted to making sure we're minimizing the amount of harm we're doing, and we're actually finding ways to remember love and compassion. The definition of love in Buddhist philosophy is the desire to make another happy and acting on that desire. That's love. And the definition of compassion, according to Buddhist philosophy, is the desire to alleviate the suffering of others and acting on that desire. That we become love and compassion. We do love and compassion. We don't just feel loving and compassionate, which is also fine, but that we walk through the world and every step is love and compassion. We can do it. It's just choice. It's just a question of what's our habituation. Are we more wired to separation and self-interest and fear and I'm not good enough? Or not me, but someone else? Or next year I'll work on that? No judgment. I have those come up daily. Um, or can we really fully embody that when we wake up in the morning, we have this joyful zest and excitement to get out of bed and say, who can I love today and who can I do compassion to on today? Who can I make happy and whose suffering can I alleviate? Knowing that by the end of the day, when you then go to bed and you look back, you say, it's been a good day when you can see the ways you have gone out of your way to make someone happy and to alleviate someone's suffering. And the more of us that do that, the more that's just going to manifest and it becomes a tipping point. But we're constantly pulled back into more tribal ways of being, more fight, flight, and freeze, more opposition, more us, them, more I'm going to take care of myself before I take care of others. And again, no judgment. It's simply a pattern. So all we're doing is we're playing out on this planet patterns that we are continuing to perpetuate. That's really it. It sounds easy. It sounds like to say it's really it. It sounds easy. It's not easy. The solution's easy. But as I always say, the problems can be very complex, but you can't solve complicated problems with complicated solutions. Just complicates it. The solutions are really simple, which is what I'm naming as one possible solution. Implementing the simple solution is hard work. It is possible for every human being to wake up in the morning and their first thought is, who am I going to make happy and whose suffering am I going to alleviate? And if you think about everyone doing that, just imagine what this planet would be like. But we don't. We wake up in the morning often and we say, how am I going to protect myself and my interests? Who are my enemies? Who do I have? All of that. Where am I being oppressed? And that those are valid things to consider. And I'm not just discounting that someone may be oppressed. There are people on this planet who are oppressed, and they can't get to this state yet. This is not for everyone right now. There are people who are just basically trying to survive, and you can just identify different parts of the world right now where people their only interest is survival, making sure their children have enough food and don't get and avoid bombs. So we're talking about the idea of the people who have the luxury and the privilege to do this work. And so this is our what if this is our time? And one thing that I believe truly deeply, and I'm trying to consider, is what if these uncertain times that we've been facing for far too long is actually a unique opportunity to activate and integrate more of your power and gifts in order to fiercely and respectfully meet the challenges of our time? What if these times were actually set up to surprisingly activate parts of us that we don't even realize we have access to? What if we need this level of discomfort that we're all moving into with a world that feels more volatile, where a lot of things that we relied on, like democracy and social systems, may be threatened, where we're seeing the power shifts in terms of who has wealth and who doesn't? It's accelerating and it's not just affecting certain people, it's affecting more people. And what if that specifically was set up for us as a gift for us to actually take through the discomfort to find parts of ourselves that we can awaken that are superpowers we didn't even know we had? And I think it's possible. And we've seen this happen throughout, even in recent history, where we've been we've been given opportunities. For instance, 9/11 is a perfect to me, and I talk about this in my book. It's an opportunity. It was an opportunity where it was a terrible thing that happened in 9/11 in New York and Pennsylvania and in the Pentagon. And it did something to the human psyche. It kind of woke everyone up, got us into the present moment. And I was in Holland at the time, Of course, I was trying to get through. I couldn't get through, trying to find out my sister who worked next door to the World Trade Center, and friends and family just not being able to know what was happening. I was walking around for that day and the next day in a total daze, and was watching everyone else in Amsterdam and in the Netherlands also walking around in a daze. They had no personal connection to New York. The whole world was walking around in a daze, from my experience. It woke us up to connecting to our hearts, to presence, and it helped us feel what it can feel like to have the global heart being connected, total interdependence and interconnectedness. Am I the only one who had that experience or observed that? Yeah. So it can happen, right? So that's just proof that it can happen. And it was an opportunity. It was an opportunity for us, I believe, to evolve as a species. Unfortunately, the choices that the US government made, instead of taking that moment to hold back and say, the world is with us, we're united as a world. What are we going to do to solve not just the immediate thing of the perpetrators, which needed to be dealt with, but a larger problem? In that level of connection, anything could have manifested. It was an opportunity to step into a higher level of consciousness of how we engage with each other that included the heart as well as the rational. And I can give other examples, but I'll leave it at that for now. But what if these times are going to call us into a different level of presence? And I remember when I first arrived in the Netherlands, which was the late 80s, had the opportunity to talk to a number of people who lived through World War II and German oppression in Holland, where it was clear everyone had to make a choice. You could not sit on the sidelines. You had to make a choice. That's my very naive experience of what I discussed. I was invited. I'm dating myself. I was invited to teach in the Soviet Union at the end of the Soviet Union before that regime broke. Also got to experience what it means to be that discomfort of having to make choices of what you stand for. I speak with people in various Eastern European countries, my time in the Middle East, literally in conflict zones in various countries and territories in the Middle East, talking to people in Myanmar, working with people there, Sri Lanka, various places of where people are forced to be in that discomfort of you have to make a choice. You have to step in to advocate for what's unfolding. And I think that is what's happening. And I think certainly in countries, the Northern European countries, certainly, and in the United States, for many people in these countries, this is the first time they're going to have this, we're going to experience, on some level, this level of discomfort where we're going to be called into stepping into more of who we are. I don't want to sound alarmist, and I don't want to say that that's negative. In fact, I'm saying the contrary. I'm saying, what if this is actually what was needed, the circumstances and causes that were needed for more of us to step into our best selves, to discover different talents we have and gifts we didn't even know we had. And that all it really requires from us is to just continue doing our practices. I say just, like that's easy, but that's the work. We already have the formula, right? And it's not just the global heart gathering formula. It's any practices you may have. I will say that what this is that what's happening is that our systems are being upgraded biologically, I read an interesting book called The Biology of Transcendence. I read many years ago that really has influenced my work, by Joseph Chilton Pearce, and where he talks about the evolution of the brain. That as human beings began with the reptilian brain, we evolved as a species when we developed the mammalian brain, and we further developed when we developed the prefrontal cortex. And that the hypothesis is that the heart is literally the fourth part of the brain. And that what human evolution is, what's trying to happen, and what's been happening, it's just been a slow process, is that many times we do activate that heart, that fourth part of the brain, which means that just like the prefrontal cortex gave us reasoning, the mammalian brain gave us relationship and bonding, and the reptilian brain made sure that we survived and were safe. This higher level of brain is what brings us into that walking love and compassion at all times. Heart resonance, knowing that we are interdependent, knowing that we are interconnected, that we never were not disconnected or separate. And that there have been moments, I'm sure, in your life where you've had that, where whether through meditation or through dance or hugging a tree or a glorious event like a wedding or something, where you have just dropped into that space where you have, or even a funeral. I remember as a kid, a lot of people in my family died. And there was a part of me at one point where I actually was craving. It's like, I want to go to a funeral because that's where everyone's present and connected. It's terrible as a child to say I want to go to a funeral, but you get my point. um, that's where that's our true nature, and to be able to live that. But what happens is that culture pulls us back into the lower brain. So when we tried, and we've seen many times that, and that's happening in society now, by all the things I'm saying about the individuals and groups who are devoting their time and energy in a powerful way, in a strategic way, in a political way, even in some places, to take care of the planet, to activate global unity and peace. That's this process. And the image I have is like when you try to remember lighters, when you try to turn on a lighter and you like, and it's not lighting, or it'll light up for a bit and then it'll go out. That's the same feeling I have. It's like the spark of our hearts when we're developing this fourth part of the brain. That's the practice. That's what this global heart gathering practice is. That's what I think a lot of other practices are, is to help us integrate, first of all, come to stillness so that we can integrate the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and the prefrontal cortex, bring peace to that, regulation, so that we can then integrate the fourth part of the brain, the heart. And that's where we will discover talents and gifts that we never really knew we had. And this time is calling us, is actually not calling us. What if this time was actually a gift to us to get us to the point where we really can focus and discipline ourselves to do our practices, to activate that? So that's what I wanted to share for this time, and I want to bring that into our practice. And let's do our practice, and then afterwards, if you have any reflections, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too. Hello, Claudia. It's great to see you. Where are you, in South America at the moment, or are you in Guatemala?
Yes, I'm in Guatemala. Good to see you
Nice.
all.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. So we're going to start our practice as always. I'll coach you through that. And this is a way of integrating the things I shared. And this practice is to cultivate resilience and fierce compassion. To be able to look at the parts of us that are holding on to rigid ideas of separation, overcome that, to soften that, so that we can come into a deeper heart resonance, so that we can literally effortlessly walk through the world as compassion. We don't have to do it. We don't have to feel it. We just are it. It just flows. So sitting in a way where your spine is straight, power sit. Your spine is straight without being rigid, elongating from the back of your neck, so you're tucking in your chin a little bit. Relax your jaw, relax your shoulders, relax your belly. This helps you cultivate balance and flow, as well as presence and awareness. With this being in power sit, now bringing your awareness to your center and your lower belly, approximately the width of 3 fingers below your navel and a third of the way into the body from the front of the body. Focusing in that spot, your center of gravity, impulse, gut wisdom, personal power, and awareness. From your center of awareness, become aware of your contact points, the parts of your body that are connecting with what you're sitting on and the ground. Feeling those contact points, connecting with the ground, feeling the gravity pulling you down, feel the stability under you. With that stability, trusting that stability, let yourself be held. Using that as a practice, you can do this another time or take more time to focus on this as you're connecting with the ground, really bringing your awareness down further, right to Mother Earth herself, building that relationship with being held by Mother Earth, trusting that stability. Bringing yourself more into a deeper awareness of the present moment, starting with yourself. So from your center, become aware of your physical body. Just observe, listen to the wisdom of the body. From your center, become aware of your emotional body. What emotions are you present to right now? You're gathering information and learning to listen to the signals, subtle signals from a physical level, now from an emotional level. It's all information. From your center, become aware of your thoughts, your mental body, listening more to the quality of the thoughts, the speed, than the actual thoughts themselves. Maintaining a connection with your core, with your personal power and awareness. Now bringing awareness to the middle of your chest, where your heart center is, where your heart power resides. Compassion, dignity, respect, your highest values. And activating your core and activating your heart. From your core and your heart, become aware of that part of you which has connection to something larger than yourself. What part of you actually has access and connection to something larger than yourself. And in this moment, from that place, through your heart and your core, become aware of what your connection is in this moment to something larger than yourself. Can you feel it in your heart? Can you feel that in your core, in your lower belly? Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And from your heart and from your core, allow that to radiate out in all directions to fill your personal space, out to your personal boundaries, above you, behind you, in all directions. Stability from Mother Earth below you, that flow of connection with something larger than yourself, filling you. Maybe activating and giving space for you to activate more of your gifts, more of your wisdom in this moment. Maintain, and with that awareness of yourself in this present moment, take a full breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. From your center and from your heart, maintaining a connection with yourself. Now, letting from your heart and your core, your awareness radiate out to your surroundings, the room you're in all directions, placing yourself in a context. What information are you gathering from your environment? How is it influencing you in this moment? And with this awareness of self and your surroundings from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And building on your awareness of the present moment, maintaining connection with yourself and your surroundings, from your heart and from your center, become aware of those in this meditation circle. Those who have joined us here on Zoom, those who happen to be from North America, from Central and South America, from Europe, and those who are not here on Zoom but are still with us in their hearts, holding space. From your center and from your heart, opening your awareness to connect with them. And noticing what that's like in this moment of feeling maybe you've activated more of your heart or more of your gifts, being in community and in a circle with others who are doing the same. And with awareness of self, surroundings, and those in this meditation circle from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now continuing to build on this awareness from your center and from your heart, become aware of all human beings, first beginning with those human beings you would label loved ones. And in this moment, as you stay connected to yourself, your surroundings, and those sharing this meditation with you, who arises in your heart in this moment of loved ones? What faces do you see, or groups of people? How many can you hold in your heart? This is the practice, the resilience practice. We're building the capacity in our hearts to hold more beings with ease without it burning us out. And just visualize in your mind's eye as you're standing face to face what that is in this moment in history to activate, to be activating more gifts, more of your talent. And as you connect with your loved ones, how that might influence them. And imagine without them even knowing it, and with ease, without any, not being invasive, but just imagining that from your heart and your center, as you connect with their heart and their center, that naturally their gifts get activated. More of who they are gets activated. Simply by standing in your truth of compassion and action, allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label strangers. And who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? What groups of people? How many strangers can you hold in your heart in this moment with ease? Maybe stretching a little bit more than you think is comfortable. Uncomfortable doesn't mean unsafe. And as you stand face to face with them, as you visualize that, your presence and awareness in this moment activates within them, surprisingly, talents and gifts that they have. Activates an awareness of their hearts. And from your center and from your heart, become aware of those human beings you would label adversaries. And who arises in your heart? Be truthful with yourself. Be courageous. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see, or groups of people? How many adversaries can you hold in your heart that feels okay for you without stressing you out? And how much can you open your heart to them in this moment? But the resilience practice, the strength building practice here is to see if it's possible to activate in the standing face to face with your adversaries, to still be able to activate gifts and talents of your heart. As long as you feel safe, but what would that be like to pull yourself out of your reptilian brain, the fight, flight, freeze response, through the mammalian brain, the prefrontal cortex, into your heart, to activate the highest frequency that you can presence in this moment, even standing face to face with adversaries. And imagine in the practice of doing this without them even knowing it, that you're activating in them a deeper level of wisdom and love, that they may have an experience of activating their highest gifts. That they may activate within themselves a remembrance of what it means to be truly interconnected and interdependent with not only human beings, but with all creatures on the planet itself. And with this awareness of yourself, your surroundings, those in this meditation circle, and all human beings, regardless of how you label them, as loved one, stranger, or adversary, take a nice, full, deep breath in. And now hold space for this moment of all human beings. Just imagine, be in your creativity. What if? What if in this moment all human beings did activate their hearts? It did integrate with the rest of their brain. What if their highest values were being manifest and embodied in every moment of every step they took, every word they said, every thought they had? What would this planet look like? Allow that to feel that in your system. How would not only human beings be, how will all creatures be? What would the planet itself look like and feel like? Feel that experience in your body, let it embody it, and with a deep breath, let it anchor into your system. Take a nice full breath. And now let the planet, all of its creatures and the human beings flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to those in this meditation circle, with gratitude and reverence for those who are holding space, co-creating with you in this moment, this vision and dream of a planet where everyone's hearts are fully activated. And with gratitude and reverence, allow those in this meditation circle to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings, helping you anchor this in your daily, day-to-day. Allow your surroundings to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to yourself. And see if you now, in that practice of you activating your heart and your core, your personal power, the parts of you who still are having some doubt, and see if you can actually, with your heart, inspire those parts of you to get online, come into alignment, come into integration. Remembering what it's like to activate this fourth part of your brain, your heart. Imagining what it would be like to always keep this flame and spark activated as you walk through the world, that it feels safe, that doesn't burn you out. In fact, it energizes you. And allow this benefits of this practice to flow into your every cell of your body, activating every cell of your body, flowing into all of your organs to nurture and heal. Flowing into your nervous system as a way to remember this, the muscle memory. With one final breath, there's a way to close this in through your nose and out through your mouth. And when you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Look around your room where you are. Stretch your body, shake your body. So as always, we start with a motivation. We do our practice, and now we have a chance to reflect before we close. Does anybody want to share what your experience was in this practice, or want to share based on some of the things that I talked about, or just what's coming up for you this last month? Thank you, Ophelia. It's good to have you join us.
I like to share something.
Sure.
When I connected to my heart and make it bigger, bigger, bigger for the whole world, suddenly there was a whole lot of color. I had all the vision of all the war, all the buildings that are coming down. You mentioned 9/11, and what is connecting that is there's no color. There's gray and a bit white, but no, I think no color. And when I brought my heart to it, it looks like a Disney movie. A bit extra, but you can bring that. And it's not too, I don't have to put action in it. Only when I connect to my heart, the colors are there. So I like that.
Thank you, Mika. So what if let's just imagine, let's just dream. Let's just do what if. Stel dot. In a lot of the superhero movies or the X-Men, the mutant movies, everywhere the mutants have a very unique power. Some of them are very bizarre, some of them are very simple, but everyone identifies their special unique gift. And what if your gift, Mika, is to bring color to everywhere you come?
Yeah.
What if this practice and this meditation helped you identify that's my gift to the world as I bring color wherever I go?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too. We'll call you, they got to come up with a name like color woman or something. I don't know. We'll see.
Woman. No, rainbow.
Rainbow. Okay. All right.
Yes, I love that.
Thank you, Mika. Anyone else?
I'll share quickly. So I saw your invitation on your Facebook page and joined, not knowing it was a very small group. So it feels wonderful to be here. I was looking for my adversaries and I didn't really see any. I just saw like political people and I'm like, why are they my adversaries? There's gotta be something wrong here. Turn around the division part of like, why make them my personal adversaries? Think about like expanding their hearts so that they will bring their light out and the colors, like Mika just said, to try to make this a more colorful world and make more peace in it. Of course, the wars and all that's going on, it's hard to forget about them, but it was like, don't look at them as adversaries or else this is gonna go on and on and on. We need to turn around this vicious circle. So thank you for this wonderful opportunity. I love being here.
Thank you, Claudia. Great to have you here. Claudia is doing such remarkable work in the world. I'm so grateful to have her in my life.
Thank you. Same here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Joe, you said that terrible circumstances can bring out the best in people. We had an explosion over here in a building, and the whole neighborhood came to assist. And I think, yes, that's also possible.
Yeah. I just want to clarify, it's just a translation. I'm not implying everything is terrible, just you use the word, but I just want to, there's hardships. And you could say it's terrible. Certainly a building exploding is terrible. But I just want to clarify, yeah, the hardships. And it is horrible that it's horrible that the buildings went down in 9/11. It's horrible that buildings, yeah, those are terrible experiences. Yeah. And those are the moments where we just need to remember. We wake up out of something. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else before we close? Okay. Well, we'll do a dedication before we close, but I want to just make some, as always, announcements. I want to really emphasize for those of you who are for the first time or come on a regular basis. I offer this for free, but you could leave a donation if this has inspired you and you are feeling generous. Claudine is gonna put the link. It's a donation to the Fear Civility Project, which is the work that's being done to foster this work. So if you feel compelled to want to share, please do. You don't have to. Um, um, I am actually making space in my schedule to do one-on-one coaching for this moment to help people to look at, wow, 2024 has been quite a year. And how am I going to actually navigate 2025? So I'm using my Resilient Power Assessment, which is based on the 4 pillars of resilient power that I do to help people identify in this current moment what their relationship is with their own personal power, and to help them come up with strategies to navigate 2025 in a way that feels empowering and not disconcerting in a sense. So we'll have information for that on the website. And as always, as the holidays are coming, you might want to consider the Fear Civility book and the Mastering Respectful Confrontation book as gifts. They're great gifts. They're stocking stuffers. And there are links to purchase the book. We're putting all the links in the chat. And of course, if you're not on our mailing list and you want to be on our mailing list, there's another link we'll give you. If nothing else, you can always go to joeweston.com, which is the website that has information for all of this, for books, for getting on our mailing list, to continue to be updated on events. There's an events page. There's free resources on there from past global heart practices and other talks and articles. I think that's it for now. And there's just, if you're not, find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn. Oh, another nice gift could be the Occupy Here t-shirt. So there's the Occupy Here. Check that out. Occupy Your Heart. Sorry, it's always new for me to do, so I'm trying. So there you go. So I've done my best there. But let's close with a dedication. Just that we make sure that we anchor this. It's remarkable, I think, the energy that we've generated. again, just this what if, stellt out imagination, that what if the energy we've generated here, these remarkable people coming into heart resonance with each other and with the world, what if that did activate within people more of their connection with their hearts? What if people who in this moment who are feeling very disempowered, and the holidays is always a rough time for a lot of people who feel isolated and depressed. What if the energy we generated brings them some sense of life and light? I was going to say light, but life too. To empower them in the ways they need to be empowered. And this energy generates an opening in all of us to just consider, if nothing else, that we take care of the children of the planet. Let's take a breath. Okay, thank you. I'm so grateful for you all as this 2024 is coming to an end. And we'll see what, as we step into 2025, what that brings us. Be well, and always be in touch if you want to connect through the website. But have a good couple of good holiday time, and we'll see you again in the new year.
All the best wishes for the new year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you. Bye.